Hey, Satsu.
Yo,
Guess what?
chicken butt.
It's Friday. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
Hello.
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well on this Friday. We switched schedules for Squishy's birthday yesterday, but we are here on my channel, if you didn't already realize that. So I'll just restate the obvious. But, Satsu, how was your day?
Pretty good. I got a lot of stuff done today. Uploaded 2 videos, got the shelf built that I got from Sam's Club and put all my stuff up on there, and it looks all nice, and all of my appliances finally fit in one place and are not all cluttered, and I got much more storage space for stuff, so that was nice. Just hanging out. I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but I'm digging the intro. Like every time we do that little cutaway at first, and then you roll it, I'm like, I likes this.
I'm glad you do. I put a lot of time into it. Maybe not a lot of time, but I figured out how to do. I mean, it's very simple stuff, probably for anybody who's done video editing. But I figured out how to do all the moving parts of it without having to look anything up. I just kind of experimented. So I'm very proud of myself for that, as silly as it is. But yep, I thought it needed a little bit of class. I don't know, something else. We've been doing this long enough. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. I also keep thinking about doing like little bits for the different segments of the show, like something for YouTube time and that kind of stuff. But I don't know if I want to go quite that deep into the weeds on it. So we shall see. As for myself, it was a pretty stressful day. Our system for remoting into the office completely crashed this morning. And so everyone was made 3 some odd hours late in getting started for the day. And so today was particularly stressful. Everything eventually got done, but it was, like I say, it was a bit of a hurry up and wait for most of my morning, which wasn't fun. And I'm still adjusting to the discomfort of this teeth stuff I'm doing. I mean, it's like I keep telling myself, it's just, okay, it's for the long term. You get this figured out now, you'll be set for probably the rest of your life. So just get it squared away. But man, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Oh, well. Que sera. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you have not already. And I can see many of you haven't. Probably because I'm bitching about my teeth, but, whatever. And please share our stuff. Share it far, wide, sideways, and otherwise. Said it before. We'll say it again. YouTube does a very poor job of letting people know about content creators, large and small, unless they're corporate backed for some reason. So if there's a content creator that you appreciate, please let people know, whether it's us or someone else. Share the stuff you like so that other people know what else they might like themselves. Quick programming note. We'll be taking tomorrow night off. That means the whole of the weekend will be Lords of the Night free. Just need a Satsu and I, for various different reasons, could do with a bit of a breather as far as having a schedule for tomorrow. So there will be no Lords of the Night tomorrow night. We'll see you again after tonight on Monday night, back on Satsu's channel with the regular schedule per usual. I still intend to do something Sunday morning, but I'm not quite sure yet what, so just wait and see. But all of that, anything else to mention before we get into the schnews, Satsu?
Nope, we're good to go.
Alrighty, well, let me pull up today's first story. Not necessarily the top story. I don't know if I can call any of these the top story, but first story is a continuation of something we talked about a few days ago. And that is, Iceland reports a volcanic eruption near the capital of Reykjavik.
Oh.
Iceland has reported a volcanic eruption in the southwest Reykjanes Peninsula. The Icelandic Meteorological Office IMO, in my opinion, tweeted Friday, quote, volcanic eruption has begun in Fagradalsfjall. Flight color code is red, but very little turbulence is seen on seismometers. Or seismometers, sorry. Or seismometers, yes. IMO tweeted. Iceland's Department of Civil Protection and Emergency Management has urged citizens to avoid the Reykjanesbraut Highway in the southwest Reykjanes Peninsula. The highway connects Greater Reykjavik to Iceland's Keflavik International Airport. Quote, an eruption has started at Fagradalsfjall. We ask people to stay calm and not under any circumstances go close to the eruption site or on Reykjanesbraut. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Quote, first responders need to be able to drive freely to assess the situation. Scientists are working on assessing the eruption. That's really all you can do is just assess it. You can't really do anything about it. Mother Nature. The eruption comes after weeks of increased seismic activity on the peninsula with some 400 earthquakes detected in the region on Thursday morning alone.
Damn.
Yeah, so Iceland, not a very happy place to be right now. Quote, this is somewhat less seismic activity in comparison to previous mornings where the numbers have been around 1,000 earthquakes, the IMO added in a tweet on Thursday. Well, I mean, if you're down 60%, that's probably pretty good. Until the hot lava comes flowing into your capital city. But hey. So there you go. Not much more to be said on that. Hopefully it's not anywhere near it doesn't say that it was anywhere near anything, highly populated, but I guess highways. So anyway, hope everybody is okay there. Let's see. Continuing with stories that we mentioned the other day and updates there too. Let's see who sent. Someone sent this one to me, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Liberty Vet sent this one to me. Family, new audio confession in Kendrick Johnson case handed to investigators. This is the individual who was rolled up in the mat at a gym several years ago. The tape reportedly contains audio of someone appearing to confess to the murder of Kendrick Johnson, whose body was found inside a rolled-up gym mat. A new piece of potential evidence has been brought to authorities in the high-profile death of a Valdosta teen. A family spokesperson tells First Coast News that an audio tape has been obtained with someone appearing to confess to the murder of Kendrick Johnson, whose body was found inside a rolled-up gym mat at a Georgia high school in 2013. Marcus Coleman provided a transcript of the recording which says, quote, they're going to catch me anyways, should have never done that. I was young and stupid, man. Kendrick didn't deserve that. They're going to catch me, unquote, the transcript says. The man who said the words has not been identified. Then where did the recording come from? Coleman says a tipster sold the tape for $1,000 to the Johnson family.
What the? Oh my God. Come on, dude.
I mean, fingers crossed that this is actually legit and leads to somebody being questioned. On the other hand, it sounds like a con job. Coleman says he is cautiously optimistic about the tape and the reopening of the investigation. A tipster sold the tape. Quote, we do know there is what appears to be a Caucasian male admitting tearfully and fearfully to the killing of Kendrick Johnson, Coleman said. I thought it was an audio tape. How do you know what they look like? Okay. His death has been ruled accidental, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation officially closed its investigation in June of 2020, but the family has long believed Johnson was murdered. The case was recently reopened by the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office, who confirms they received the tape. Quote, I told them I would look at it, but I think there are people who would do some really cruel things, and I hope it's not a scam. Yeah, Sheriff Ashley Polk said. In response to the claims it may be a hoax, Coleman says it was not a pieced-together recording, and the validity of the tape needs to be identified. Well, it doesn't have to be a pieced-together recording to be fake. Quote, the person on the tape must be identified. If I think they mean if it is a hoax with the scammer who sold it, we need to know why those words exist on that tape. To get $1,000. That's why. If it's a hoax, that's why they did it, for the money.
I would wager that that's probably the case.
Quote, we didn't hand over an automated voice pieced together recording. We handed over what we believe is a Caucasian male stating his involvement, Coleman said. How do you know it's a... Okay, Anyway, sounds like bullshit to me. An anonymous tipster sells it for $1,000 to the family in a tape that they can't identify where it came from. Yeah. Oh, stop it, video playing in the background. Anyway, yeah, so that's something of an update, but sounds like bullshit to me.
Yeah, ain't sounding too promising.
Let's move on to something more entertaining, I suppose, than kids dying in a roll-up. Prosecutor demoted for moonlighting as DoorDash driver during work hours. Methinks you're not paying your prosecutors enough. A prosecutor in Pennsylvania has been demoted after staff members in the district attorney's office learned he was working as a DoorDash food delivery driver during office work hours, according to Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub. Greg Shore, who served as a first assistant district attorney, will now work as a deputy district attorney, said a statement from Weintraub. Quote, the move comes after the office's attorney staff learned recently that Shore, a salaried employee, demonstrated very poor judgment by working a side job delivering food for DoorDash and did so at times during normal business hours. Well, you're not giving him enough work. In a statement of his own, Shore said that because of his, quote, personal circumstances, unquote, there were times he, quote, worked a second job delivering food during the COVID pandemic, unquote. Quote, I primarily worked the job at night and on weekends. However, I made the incredibly poor decision to deliver during the workday at times, Shore said. Well, probably right. Quote, in doing so, I realized I betrayed my boss, my colleagues, and most importantly, the citizens of Bucks County. Yeah, but you still did it. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing till you got caught. Anyway. Weintraub said that as a prosecutor, it is, quote, our duty to consider the whole person, not just the offensive conduct, and to recognize the importance of redemption and second chances. Well,
it's 2020, bitch.
Well, no, it's not.
The 2021. God damn it. I'm so used to saying that.
Satsu. I mean, I appreciate that sentiment that he was demoted and not outright fired. Because, I mean, yeah, all right. Poor decision making. But, you know, the kind of thing we were talking about last night with the Teen Vogue editor lady.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, God forbid that somebody does something that's not the end of the world mistake or does something from a decade ago or whatever is given a little bit of leniency. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so a little silly of a story, but, you know, at least it's not catastrophic or anything. At least he wasn't moonlighting as like an assassin or something. Now, there's a movie plot for you. Prosecutor by day, assassin by night.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
Would it be, though?
Probably not.
Okay. Let's talk about something more important, and that would be immigration. Specifically, Biden administration weighs flying immigrants to Canadian border as surge grows.
Wait.
Hold on. The Biden administration is considering flying migrants who illegally cross the U.S.-Mexico border to near the U.S.-Canada border for processing as a way to ease pressure on overwhelmed facilities in Texas, according to a new report. So you're going to overwhelm both sides of the country.
Yes. Let's just...
And how much is it going to cost to routinely fly this overflow of people back and forth to different parts of the world? Who's going to house them while they're there? Are there facilities set up on the Canadian border equal to or better than what is set up on the southern border, given how... Yeah, remember all those surges of Canadian illegal immigrants we get?
Well, not only that, there was a mention recently of the amount of people that are coming over illegally into this country that have COVID. So how are you gonna what's gonna be the procedure for that?
The tactic is under consideration amid a surge in border crossings that critics blame on President Biden's policies and reform legislation that would create a path to citizenship for most illegal immigrants. Two Department of Homeland Security officials told the Washington Post, why can't you guys do your own reporting? Really? That the administration is considering airlifts to the northern border due to large numbers of unaccompanied children and families crossing in the south. Officials told the Washington Post that on Friday morning, 1,000 people who were either unaccompanied minors or in family units crossed the Rio Grande into Texas, and that another 1,000 were still awaiting processing from Thursday night. 1,000 people in one morning.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's no crisis or anything like that.
No, there's no crisis. It's a challenge. The Biden administration has been using a Trump-era COVID-19 policy to expel most single adults. What? The Biden administration has been leaning on a Trump policy? What? I thought all things that Trump did at the border were ineffective and inhumane and blah, 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 blah. But has said that all unaccompanied children will be admitted, at least temporarily, and that families only will be expelled if Mexico has room to house them. Somehow I don't think Mexico is going to want to keep taking in people either.
Wait, they shouldn't be expelling them for any reason. That's evil. It's xenophobic.
The new figures suggest an increasing crisis. No, they don't suggest anything. They reflect. That's the word you're looking for, reflect.
Increasing crisis?
Yeah. I mean, it is an increasing crisis. Remember, we had a surge in 2019, we had a surge in 2020, but Biden couldn't possibly have known there was going to be a surge in 2021.
Increasing crisis.
Along the length of the U.S.-Mexico border in February, there were 29,792 children detained without their parents, about 5 times more than in January, of whom 2,942 were under the age of 12.
Huh. And it's all just a coincidence. Nobody knows why this is happening. It's what they said earlier. Critics of Biden say this, but we don't have an opinion on it. Even though if this was Trump, we definitely have an opinion on whether or not that's true. We're just going to say that critics claim that because
Well, as a supplement to this story, I have one from CNN that actually says, here's what we know about unaccompanied children at the southwest U.S. border.
Oh boy, here comes the apologetics.
Well, I don't know yet. Let's see. The number of children arriving alone at the southwest border to request asylum has been steadily increasing since April 2020. I think it's been more dramatically increasing in the last 60 days.
Well, they had to go back that far to try to make it look equivalent to the changes that's been happening now. So.
With the pace accelerating in the new year. The U.S. Border Patrol detained 9,300 unaccompanied children in February. No, it was 29,972. Unless the Post is lying. Let me read that again to make sure I'm not misstating something. Thank you, Devil Fruit Zero. Biden has to beat Obama's high score for deportations. Sad you won't be on tomorrow. Have a good day off, you guys. Thank you, Devil Fruit. Okay, along the length of the U.S.-Mexico, this is from the New York Post again. Along the length of the U.S.-Mexico border in February, there were 29,792 children detained without their parents. But then CNN says the U.S. Border Patrol detained 9,300 unaccompanied children in February, up from 5,700 in January. So is it 29,000 or is it 9,000? And the New York Post provides a hyperlink to where they're getting that information, which goes straight to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website. So let me pull that up as a supplement to the supplement real quick before we go back to the CNN story. Let's take a look at this. Okay, see enforcement numbers. Unaccompanied children. Beginning in April 2020, CBP has an increase in encounters of unaccompanied children from Central America at the southwest border. In fiscal year 2021 through February, 29,792. Oh, fiscal year 2021. Oh, well, now that is different. Okay, so when did the fiscal year 2021 start? Because I'm not an accountant, so I don't know. Fiscal year 2021 started October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. Okay, so since October 1st.
Not April?
Well, not April, but also not since February 1st.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, so about 5 times more than in January. Yeah, so basically the New York Post fucked up. And they're the ones that provided the link to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection site that tells you how they came to that number.
Yeah, but guess who ain't gonna be clicking that link to go investigate?
Yeah. But anyway, so in this instance, credit where credit is due to CNN for getting it right. Moving on anyway. Let's see. 9,000 unaccompanied children in February, up from 5,700 in January. A steep rise this early in the year suggests more families and children will arrive in the coming months. You don't say. Previous migration waves have peaked in early summer, typically around May. Quote, what you have got to remember is that March, April, May, and June are the peak months, said Texas Democratic Representative Henry, I don't know how to say that, Keller, whose district includes border cities Laredo and Rio Grande City. Quote, so you're going to see some big numbers, unquote. Yeah. Are you going to explain why? The sudden increase in children entering the U.S. alone is being driven by the devastation left behind by 2 major hurricanes last year, the toll of the coronavirus pandemic, and a perceived relaxation of enforcement.
Two definitive things, and then the other one is perceived. I'm guessing that's perceived by Biden's opponents and not based on reality. There's no lax policies at all. It's exactly as strict as it was when Trump was in there. Is that what they're saying?
All of the people sending their kids across or trying to cross illegally, they must all be Republicans.
Yeah.
Because they believe that Biden is slacking off on the rules. Which is not true. Which is obviously not true.
Yeah, and they're also constantly every day talking about how much better the new system that Biden's using, how he's using all these new facilities, and how much different it is, and how people aren't going through the stuff that they were going through. But it's there's no lax in that at all. Like it's exactly how it was before.
No, I mean there were still hearing stories about the detainment facilities being overflowed with kids. Mm-hmm. Them sitting on the floor, kids in cages again. Kids in cages. Most of the children are seeking safe haven from dangerous circumstances in their home countries of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Mexico. That may be true, but they're being sent by their parents alone to get to the border.
Yes. The question is, or the thing we need to focus on is, why are they doing it now? All those things may be true all across the board, across the time that they were doing it up until this point. But since February, why has the numbers increased so drastically?
Quote, poverty, high levels of violence, and corruption in Mexico and the Northern Triangle countries have propelled migration to our southwest border for years, said Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Quote, the adverse conditions have continued to deteriorate, unquote. Well, here's the thing, and you said it in your own statement there, Mr. Secretary. That's been the case for years. Mm-hmm. Why the sudden giant spike now?
Yeah.
Mayorkas said his agency is, quote, on pace to encounter more individuals on the southwest border than we have in the last 20 years, unquote, including more arrivals of unaccompanied children. Both the Biden and Trump administrations have been turning away single adults and families under a pandemic-related health order. The Biden administration, however, is no longer turning away unaccompanied children. So perceived laxed restrictions, right?
Well, isn't that interesting, though? There's a perceived lax in restrictions. But the only thing that was lifted was the kids.
And suddenly there's an increase in kids.
Yeah, there's a dramatic increase in specifically that one.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. It's only perceived, though. There's no evidence that that's the case, except for the fact that the only program that was specifically laxed or pushed back, it increased that amount of people coming into the country.
Typically, after being taken into Border Patrol custody, unaccompanied children have to be turned over within 72 hours to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is tasked with the care of migrant children, and who are ridiculously overwhelmed right now, of course. HHS was until recently running their shelters at partial capacity to maintain COVID-19 distancing protocols, which had limited its ability to accept children within those first 3 days. This has forced children to wait in jail-like conditions at Border Patrol adult facilities for longer than the 3-day legal limit. As of March 18th, more than 4,500 children were waiting in Border Patrol custody and 9,500 children were in HHS care, well above the 5,100 children in HHS care as of January 31st. It will take time to reunite them with a family member or release them to another appropriate sponsor, but that can take months. By the summer of 2020, the children remaining in custody have been in HHS care for nearly a year on average. The average length of stay for a child in HHS custody is currently 34 days, an administration official said. Well, that's not nearly a year. The average is 34 days. Okay. HHS has released 131,800 children to U.S.-based sponsors between October 2017 through January 2021. Of those, 43% were discharged to a parent or other legal guardian, 47% were sponsored by another immediate relative, and 10% were released to a distant relative or an unrelated sponsor. And then what happens to them?
Who cares?
I guess. FEMA is assisting the HHS with expanding its capacity to provide shelter to more children. Teenagers who represent the majority of unaccompanied children are also being transferred out of Border Patrol facilities to a temporary shelter at a Dallas convention center until they can be accepted by HHS. President Joe Biden said he expects that these efforts to open additional shelters will provide enough beds for all the unaccompanied children in U.S. custody by next month. Joe, that's not a solution. That is going to increase the problem.
Yeah.
You said you're not going to turn away unaccompanied kids, so parents are going to send their children to the border. And B, saying you're going to have more beds available means, oh boy, doors open.
Yes, that's less chances for our kids to be in danger, more chance for them to have a safe place to stay, because you are literally announcing yet again to the world, we're making more space for you guys. Don't worry. Keep sending your kids. I hope they don't die. Good luck.
Yeah. And again, I've said it a million times. I'll keep saying it. All this is going to do is increase people taking their lives into their own hands or putting them into the hands of criminals to get themselves as far north as they can, whether they're families or individual kids or whatever else. More people are going to be exploited and or die as a result of this. That's good. I mean, for every increase there is to people coming to the border, there's an increase of people that don't make it.
Yep.
And it's just baiting people to come north. Rather than, I don't know, try to find some way to encourage these countries to solve their problems that are forcing everyone to escape. No, we'll just end up taking everybody and their brother and putting people's lives at risk and giving criminals the opportunity to make a profit off of it forever. Just forever. And the places where they're coming from, yeah, they keep deteriorating. They really do. Why shouldn't... Well, anyway. I could go on, but I think that's enough of that. And coincidentally enough, that brings us to the bottom of the hour, and thus, MSS News Time. So, guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSSNews. Can't promise to get to them all, but that's because I'm long-winded. That's my standard response from now on.
And frosted glass.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's get a frosted glass out of the way before we get too deep in anything else here. Let's see. Put this up on the screen. The solution to violence against women will never be more police. It'll never be more police? Okay. On March 16th, a gunman shot 9 people, murdering 8 at 3 different massage parlors in the Atlanta area. 6 of those victims were Asian women massage workers. There has been a rush to classify exactly what kind of violence the gunman inflicted upon these 6 women. It was gun violence.
Wait a minute. How come they never mention what those other people were?
It doesn't matter.
6 of those women were Asian. The other 2, who gives a fuck? Like, that's what it comes off as. Like, who gives a shit what those other people were? But 6 of them were Asian. That's important. Well,
yeah, but here's the more pressing question here. There has been a rush to classify exactly what kind of violence the gunman inflicted upon these 6 women in order to best respond to it societally. Psycho gun violence. That's what killed those women. That's the kind of violence. His motivation? I don't care. And he does not reflect society. He reflects him.
Yeah. And at the very, very least, psychopathic people who just want to kill people because. Like, I just don't get it. They're just like, well, who should we be mad at? We need to figure out a group to blame this on so that way we can, like, that shouldn't even be your focus. That is their focus. They need to find a target of this dude's behavior. That's what they're asking for right now.
Were these women killed because they were women? Because they were Asian? Because of their line of work? And critically, how, no matter the answer, is the outcome more policing when that solution is such a clear and dangerous failure? Okay, here's the thing, and I'll give them. I don't know if they mean it this way, but I will agree with them in spirit. A locked door only keeps out an honest man. If someone decides on a particular morning that they're going to hurt people, and they don't care about their own safety, they have abandoned all reason. More likely than not, they are going to hurt people. And since police are not psychic, since police are not minority report territory. If someone decides that they're going to go out and hurt people, the police are going to have to be responsive, not proactive, because that's just reality. Whether it's somebody driving a van into a crowd at Christmas time or somebody with a gun walking into massage parlors, you're right. Police are not going to stop a crazy person from doing something crazy.
Right.
And you know what? Whatever their motivation, again, I did a soapbox stream on this at one point back when the Vegas shooting happened a couple of years back. Everybody's like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? Why do you do it? I'm like, hey, unless he was part of a conspiracy, unless there are co-conspirators still left to be caught, I could not give a shit less what his motivation was, because it doesn't matter. I mean, for the sake of the investigation, for the sake of what the police have to do to try to find out, was there something else going on? Did this person do other crimes similarly, etc.? Yeah, all that stuff investigative, perfectly fine, whatever. But at the core, why they did it means shit to me. I don't care to know the intricacies of the mind of somebody who goes out and do that kind of thing, or at least as far as like finding some kind of moral, crusade on it or something. Crazy people do crazy shit. Analyzing it might be a morbid curiosity, and I have that too, sure. But ultimately, this kind of stuff, trying to find someone to then blame in society for what this nut job did. Oh, he's a product of XYZ PDQ, rock music or Grand Theft Auto or whatever else. We always have to find somebody else to blame for that guy's crimes.
Well, what it looks like to me, like what I picture in my head whenever this shit goes down, is all of the representative of all these activist groups all standing in a line. There's like 15 of them, because God knows how many fucking separate activist groups they are. And they're all sitting there in anticipation to figure out who's going to get the donations from this group of people's deaths this time. And they're like, is it us? Is it you guys? Who's going to get the money this time? We need to know. We need to figure out who's going to get all the sympathy and the praise and the money, for this horrible accident that happened. It's so terrible, but, we're really waiting with bated breaths, trying to figure out who gets the money this time. So that's why we need to pinpoint who's the victim here, so we can know who's getting paid. That's what it looks like to me, and that may sound kind of fucked up, but that's what it seems like.
It's not always clear what we can personally do or what our role is in fighting systemic issues like these, but it's crucial that we try to do so anyway. What is the system that has guys going into massage parlors and blowing people away? What system is that?
That's what they're trying to find out. And if they can't find out what system it is, they'll just make one.
In some ways, legislators and public officials have already landed on a narrative that the murders in Georgia are part of a spike in anti-Asian violence, a problem that they have determined demands as much police attention as possible. Andrew Yang, the former presidential candidate who is now the frontrunner in New York City's mayoral race, called for more funding to the NYPD's Asian Hate Crime Task Force on Wednesday.
Does it not just confirm what the fuck I just said?
Simultaneously, the NYPD has reportedly deployed, quote, extra officers to Asian neighborhoods across New York City, unquote, including its Chinatown. In Chicago, the CPD has done the same. More policing doesn't mean more protection, though. Oh, it doesn't? Oh. Especially for communities that are already vulnerable. If there is a community that is vulnerable, and they don't have much police around, and then you send more police around, they are less vulnerable. Are they invulnerable? No. But they are less vulnerable with more protection. Studies have shown that aggressive policing, such as the institution of mandatory arrest for domestic violence calls, has served to criminalize women and deter them from reporting their abusers rather than curbing domestic violence itself. If police arrive at a domestic violence call and they cannot quickly determine or cleanly determine who is the aggressor and who isn't and so on, then for the safety of everybody, they put both into custody until they can figure it out. It's not always the case, but sometimes it has to be. If it cannot be decided on the spot and there's no reason to dilly-dally when it comes to people's safety, especially if there's children around, take them both in until you figure it out.
No, you just walk in and assume that whatever the situation is going on, and then you just fucking shoot whoever looks like they're the most guilty.
Okay, well, Vice, if policing isn't a preventative measure, I'm not going to say solution, because there is no solution to crime. It has been with us since the dawn of man. It will be continuing to be with us until the end of time. What is your suggestion? Research here. There is extensive documentation of the myriad ways both the system of policing and individual cops perpetuate violence against women, especially sex workers and especially women of color. The progressive stack. Okay, according to a 2019 report by the Prison Policy Initiative, that doesn't sound like it's got an agenda, police use of force against women quadrupled between 1995 and 2015. Wait a second. So in the better part of 20 years, with population growth, the amount of women that ended up having use of force against them went up. And was all of that use of force unjustified?
I mean, it had to be. There's no reason. Women are weak, pathetic, feeble creatures. There's no reason to do anything in the presence of a weak woman.
Yeah, every single instance in that number was an unnecessary use of force. I mean, I'd love to hear you say that because I won't believe you. And 12 million women a year have non-voluntary contact with cops in the form of traffic stops, street stops, or in the execution of an arrest warrant.
Non-voluntary contact.
Because of... Wait, okay. Well, riddle me this, Batman. Okay, how many people in total have voluntary contact with police?
Because of fucking traffic stops, arrest warrants, and what was the other one?
Street stops.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, how many men have non-voluntary contact with cops per year? How much use of force against men has occurred since 1999 to 2015?
Who cares?
I'll bet you the number's a lot bigger.
Nobody cares.
Thank you, Snubbirth. I have no issue with that. Better than assume that male did it. Well, that's the thing. I mean, sometimes the cops get there, and you can see this on all the reality shows that have police. They get to a domestic violence call, and you've got he said, she said. They both have injuries. It's difficult to tell from who's saying what, who the aggressor was. And so in order to make sure that everybody's away from each other and that they're not leaving someone who's dangerous in a household all by themselves or with other people in the family or who knows what, they put them both into custody until they can figure it out. And because at that moment, the biggest priority is the safety of the individuals, even the aggressor, whoever it is. I mean, the last thing the cops want to do in those situations is to have somebody get either hurt or more hurt. And so just to cover all the bases, better safe than sorry, again, unless there's a clear aggressor and so on, unless there's other testimony at the scene or something to say otherwise. Not always the case, but often is, just to be safe. It's not victimizing women any more than it's victimizing men, because when it happens, guess who also gets arrested? The man. If it's a male-female relationship, anyway. But anyway. Let's see. Especially, 2019 report, yeah. Cops whose job it is to police sex work have been documented abusing their power for profit. Yeah, it happens. It's not a rule, but it happens. There are... Oh, my God.
Yes, and cops who deal with gangs and drug dealers have been known to fucking do that and manipulate that for profit.
Okay, well then, Vice, then tell me, what is your alternative proposal?
They don't have one. The alternative is to keep doing things to make things worse so they can keep writing articles and keep making money.
Fight pro-cop rhetoric and policy whenever you see it. Okay, because we know the de facto solution to violence is calling for and or deploying more police officers, it's pretty easy to predict when pro-cop rhetoric will show up and who will be spreading it. According to Richie, one of the people quoted above that I skipped over, interrupting the narrative that because blank are in danger, we need more police is a crucial first step to ensuring real public safety. Quote, the things that make us safer are tackling the narratives that underlie the violence, unquote, Richie said. Quote, that requires us confronting and challenging those wherever we hear them, especially from people with power to make those and transform them into violence, unquote.
Okay, was that supposed to be the solution? What you were reading?
Yes.
Okay, did anybody else notice how the solution wasn't a solution? It was to slap down somebody else's solution.
Pay attention to how politicians, public officials, and community leaders talk about safety and community support. Are they looking to crack down on a spike or a wave of ill-defined crime? Is crime being committed by thugs or monsters and combated by law enforcement heroes? Are they ardently against defunding the police, pouring money into law enforcement budgets while gutting social services? Okay, well, tell me, what social service would have prevented the guy from shooting up the massage parlors? I mean, what social service, overly or properly funded, would have prevented that guy from deciding on that day to pick up a gun and go shoot people at massage parlors, given the fact that he's a crazy nut job with a gun?
If I had to guess, it would probably have been some type of course telling him that as a white person, he is so much more superior than those lesser people and how he needs to subjugate himself to them. I'm almost positive that would have helped him not do what he did.
Crazy people are going to do crazy things. Only in the aftermath do we ever see what the red flags might have been, or the people near the person might have now seen in retrospect what they might have said otherwise, or done, or noticed, or whatever else. Because most people don't believe the worst of the people around them.
Yeah, well, most people don't, but
most people don't.
I do.
And so whatever this guy's motivation is, or whatever he says it is, first off, he's got no credibility because he's a mass murderer. But even if you believe whatever it is that he says is his excuse, that doesn't tell you how to prevent the next idiot from doing something like this. It doesn't. I mean, unless now we'll find out, I'm sure, unless there were several stages where this guy, we've seen stories like this before, where somebody was by all observable rights, someone who should have not been either out of therapy or had been in jail and released early when they shouldn't have been, and all these other things, et cetera, et cetera. We have seen situations where someone has fallen through the cracks of stoppages that may have prevented the thing if more attention had been paid, or if this policy had been X, Y, and Z. Right. Sometimes there are things that are discovered that point to a problem that needs fixing. I'm not going to deny the possibility in this guy's case or anybody else's. But all of that is in retrospect. And even if you fix whatever leak was in the process of that individual situation, you'll never know how much or how little of an effect it had on the next person.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. Real quick. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Hello, Kyle.
Well, the thing is, they're banking on whatever this dude says or whatever he comes out and says his motivation is to fuel whatever to funnel money into whichever lucky activist groups gets to get a fucking big paycheck, So that's what they're waiting for. But what if he came out and said, hey, look, I saw all the fucking hateful rhetoric and all this horrible stuff that's been happening to these Asian women, and I love and respect them so much that I felt I should save them and preemptively take their lives because, this world was going to do it eventually anyway. It was a righteous cause. I love those women. I'm so sad I had to do it. What would their reaction be then? Like, what would they say? Like, oh,
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing, but anyway, so, okay. So you don't want to, so this whole argument is defund the police, up social services.
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing we've been hearing for a year now. Listen to women when they say what they need, unless they're accusing Joe Biden of something, apparently, or accusing Andrew Cuomo of something,
Yes. Or
in those instances, never mind.
Or appointed by Trump.
Transformative justice is a great example of this mindset applied. It's the framework through which survivors of violence take an active role determining how the person who perpetrated the violence against them gets held accountable. No. That's not transformative justice. That's frontier justice. If I'm the accuser and I'm handed the lever as to whether to sentence this person to death or let them go, that is not transformative justice. That's vigilantism. This is why we have a justice system. This is why we have an insulative system between the accused and the accuser. Because just listening and believing to an accusation leads to some big problems. I don't know if you've read The Crucible, but you might want to. You want to see an example of transformative justice as they describe it here? Read The Crucible. By all means, you'll find out real quick how transformative justice operates in a vacuum.
Yeah, the narrative they're building, though, I mean, you can tell what they're going for. They're like, victims never lie. There's no such thing as a victim or a person who's been attacked or something like that, or claims to have been, that's not telling the truth. And now we need to put all the power into what happens to whatever person they're accused into their hands. So it's like it's pretty obvious what they're going for.
We're going to move on because that article is stupid. And
was that the same article?
That was all one article, yeah.
Holy shit.
This one comes from Jim Healis. That looks like another stupid idea. Oregon health officials propose making mask mandates permanent.
Permanent, huh?
Oregon state health officials unveiled a new proposal in January, which seeks to make temporary mask mandates permanent. The current order, passed in November by the state's Workplace Safety Department, which requires all employers to implement state-imposed guidelines for social distancing and mask compliance, is set to expire on May 4th. Be with you. Oregon health bureaucrats are now seeking to make the rules permanent. Quote, although the rule must be adopted as a permanent rule, its purpose is to address the COVID-19 pandemic, the proposal reads. Quote, Oregon Occupational Safety and Health intends to repeal the rule when it is no longer necessary to address the pandemic, unquote.
So
no threshold for what constitutes when the mandate is, quote, no longer necessary, unquote, however, is offered in the proposal.
How convenient.
Yes, it's like, I regretfully accept these powers of ultimate control over the Republic, and as soon as the threat has diminished, I will give them back to the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
As
Okay.
he's as he's fucking like eating dinner off of a table of fucking dead bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, we'll see how well that. I mean, it is Oregon, so God knows they might actually go through with it. So I guess we'll find out. Let's see. This one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. Although today she has made herself into, I guess, chief White House correspondent.
Oh.
White House staffers asked to resign or work remotely after revealing past marijuana use. If they're so tainted by past marijuana use that you would have them resign, why would you then also allow them to work remotely? How's that going to make them less tainted?
So they can smoke at home.
I guess. Several White House staffers were asked to resign, were suspended, or are working remotely after revealing past marijuana use during their background checks. Sources familiar with the situation tell CNN. Shouldn't their background checks have been completed before they became staffers?
Why would you think that should happen?
I don't know. I mean, like every job I've ever had, that was of any meaning, I had a background check, and they had to figure that all out before they offered me the job.
Nah, man, that's stupid. That don't make sense.
5 people are no longer employed at the White House, while additional staffers are working remotely. In many of the cases involving staffers who are no longer employed, additional security factors were in play, including for some hard drug use, the official said. Well, then it's not just about marijuana, is it?
But that word is like, it's more buzzy.
Additional security factors, including. Well, what other factors were there? I mean, were they? Did they have some convictions on their record for something else? Anything that would cause them to have questions on their? Okay. While marijuana use is legal in many states, it is still illegal on the federal level, which can present a hurdle in the federal security clearance process. Yeah, it's almost like you might as well just take it off of Schedule 1 because nobody gives a shit anymore. The Daily Beast was the first to report on the Biden White House's terminations and sidelining of staff who admitted to marijuana use. The White House underscored on Friday that it has eased some restrictions on its security clearance policy to be more lenient about employing individuals with a history of drug use. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki tweeted on Friday that the White House, quote, worked with the security service to update the policies to ensure that past marijuana use wouldn't automatically disqualify staff from serving at the White House. Well, then what just happened? You just disqualified a whole bunch of people from working at the White House. They have to work remotely.
They didn't say she did a good job at it.
Yeah. As a result, more people will serve who would not have in the past with the same level of recent drug use. The bottom line is this. Of the hundreds of people hired, only 5 people who had started working at the White House are no longer employed as a result of this policy. No. They weren't fired because of the... Okay, as a result of this policy. You said the policy was to relax the restrictions. So as a result of relaxing the restrictions, they were fired? No, they were fired for other security factors that you won't mention, including hard drug use, which I'm assuming is like heroin or cocaine or whatever the hell else, right?
That would probably be a safe assumption.
This is just bizarre. Like, I don't really care. I mean, like, fine. Lots of businesses won't hire you if you've got drug use or everything else. That's perfectly within their prerogative. But this is all just so weird that they highlight marijuana use and but the people actually fired, it wasn't just about marijuana. Like, great, thanks. Whatever. Let's see. That is an ad, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting tricky, ain't they? Sometimes I can't tell.
Why is this tagged with MSS News? This must be like the other MSS News entity out there that we occasionally get tagged in because it's like tagging us and like some mining company and Reuters. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. Now that's another person's tweet. Here we go. Let's see. This one comes from Dookie Shoes.
Right.
Dookie shoes, darling Dookie shoes. Thank you for all the... All right, I got to take this thing off. Yeah, just get me to the thing.
Blocking blocks our funding. It's just
No, you don't say, buddy.
who gives a shit?
No. Florida man arrested for masturbating with a pickle on private property.
But why?
I appreciate the alliteration, if nothing else. Go away. Good God. One Florida man has found himself in a pickle. Well, actually, he was arrested for masturbating on private property, which included inserting a pickle.
Oh
No.
Wait, okay. I was about to say that was a literal one that we can just let slide, but no, I guess. All right.
Eric Dettige, I don't know, 47 of Tampa was charged Sunday with exposure of sexual organs for the unappetizing display, according to the arrest affidavit obtained by the outlet. The arresting officer was at the time responding to reports of a suspicious person. He ultimately found Dettige on private premises, quote, lying flat on his back, no pants or undergarments on his bottom half. He had his penis in one hand and a large uneaten pickle in his other hand and, quote, was using the pickle to penetrate his rectum while he was masturbating. Okay, you know what? We need to identify the societal narrative that led to this occurring.
Yeah, we need to figure out the societal impact that led this man to
You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is?
What's that?
It's that stork that advertises Vlasic pickles. I think it is the advertising that led this man to see those things as a source of pleasure. And consequently, yeah, I think we need to boycott storks. Not the company with the just storks. I think that'll probably solve it. I mean, not policing, but boycott storks.
You might be on to something.
Or I might be on something, one of the two. But anyway. Let's see. We talked about that one yesterday. Oh, am I to yesterday's stuff already? I am. Okay, let me scroll back up real quick and see if anything else. We talked about that one. We talked about that one just now. Let's see. Massive Dynamics. How about this one? I'll do a couple more here, and then we'll move on. I think I read something about this the other day, or is this a new one? Stop playing videos. Okay. Family stimulus check argument led to Indianapolis quadruple murder.
Oh, I'm surprised we haven't read this story yet.
Yeah,
because,
this is from a couple days ago. Yeah,
Squishy was telling me about this like 2 days ago.
Indianapolis. Her family said Janetrius Moore, if I'm saying that correctly, worked hard at the beauty supply shop to support herself and two little girls and appreciated the most recent $1,400 stimulus check issued to help Americans recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, it's not going to do much in that regard. Thank you, Keldrig. So he didn't find himself in a pickle. He found the pickle in him. That sounds like a very philosophical, almost sort of like, I don't know. What's that guy's name? I suddenly forget his name. Anyway, the philosopher that was all about, nihilism and all that fun stuff.
No.
Why do I forget his name? I don't know. Anyway. Let's see. The father of her youngest baby, Malik Halfacre, that's her name, thought he should get half. Okay. Well, isn't he going to get his own?
Well,
I'm confused. He wanted some of Genetrius's tax money, stimulus money, said Wendy Johnson. Nietzsche, that's right. Thank you, guys. Nietzsche. Said Wendy Johnson, a cousin who heard Genetrius's account of what led up to a quadruple murder in a house on the 300 block of Randolph Street Saturday night. Quote, she had just got her money and he wanted half of her money. She said, no, you don't deserve any of this. I work. I take care of our child. You don't do anything. He said, I really want half. She said, I'll give you $450. Take it or leave it. He said, I'm going to get that money. This was the day before. Johnson was told that on Saturday evening, Demetrius was outside at the curb looking after her car when Halfacre walked up. Quote, she said he gave her an evil look and walked off, said Johnson. He came back. Police said after Halfacre came back for the second time, 4 people were dead. The mother of his child was wounded, the baby was missing, and the ex-con was on the run. During an exclusive interview with Fox 59, the family identified the dead as Demetrius's 7-year-old daughter, Eve Moore, her brother, 23-year-old Daquan Moore, her mother, 44-year-old Tamika Brown, and her cousin, 35-year-old Anthony Johnson. Quote, Malik came back in the house asking, where's the money? Said Johnson, repeating the account Demetrius told her. They're like, what money? What? What are you talking about? He said, where's the money? Where's the money? Johnson said she was told that when Halfacre started going through Demetrius's purse, that's when he started going through the purse. Quote, Daquan was trying to save his sister. He was taking up for his sister, said Johnson. He stood up and said, you cannot have the money. You cannot have her money. That's what she said and pushed Malik, and Malik pulled out his gun and just started killing everybody. He shot Daquan first. He shot Anthony. He turned around and he shot my Auntie Tamika. My Auntie Tamika said Malik, and he shot her again. Then he came back and shot Daquan for the second time, and somewhere between little baby Eve got hit somewhere, and she was screaming. She was screaming.
That's fucked up.
Tell me they caught this guy.
That's fucked up, man. Over $1,400, yo.
Several hours later, the couple's baby was recovered unharmed on the city's northeast side, while almost 24 hours after the killing, following a 4-hour-long SWAT standoff on the east side, Halfacre emerged from a duplex in handcuffs after hiding in an attic to avoid several volleys of tear gas that had been fired inside. Yeah, throw this guy into a concrete box forever, please.
Yes, and remove the oxygen afterwards.
And if people in the jail or prison know that he shot a little girl, I wouldn't be too upset if they found that out. Okay. Okay, we'll do one more here. This one from Froggy. Hopefully this one's at least silly or ridiculous. Could cheer me up after that one. My white daughter was bullied out of her majority black school. How should we process this experience?
This is not a news. Well, I mean, this is very common. All throughout high school, the entire 4 years, every white kid that ever showed up in my school transferred almost immediately within the next couple months, because they all either got beat up, bullied, robbed, harassed throughout the entire experience, and they never stayed. So yeah, this was something that happened quite often. I heard about, and mostly, if I know Slate, the narrative is going to be, well, I mean, they deserved it. So, you know,
this apparently is an advice column thing. Dear Care and Feeding. Care and Feeding. Care and Feeding is Slate's parental advice column. Sounds more like a pet column.
Yeah.
Okay, Dear Care and Feeding. Karen, I am a liberal, white, upper middle class parent, and we live in a mixed income, racially integrated urban neighborhood. When it came time to enroll our daughter in high school, we selected a school that was majority black because it was close by, and we rejected the notion of getting caught up in which magnet school was most prestigious. Our daughter had a horrible time there. She was harassed so much that we had to pull her out, and other non-black students there were victimized because of their race. I'm struggling to make sense of the experience. I think she's managed it well and hasn't let it affect her general views on race, and I believe I'm doing the same, but mostly I am just so angry that our daughter had to endure this, and I feel guilty that I put her in this position. Why do you feel guilty? It's not your fault. I also feel caught between friends who seem to want to say, I told you so, and those who seem to think that saying that she was the victim of racial harassment somehow makes me seem racist since it was at the hands of black students. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should just chalk it up to bad luck, but how can I let go of the guilt and anger and all the other awful reactions I'm having to this? Take race, I mean, before we get to the actual response, take race out of the equation completely. Your daughter's sent to a school, or you send your daughter to a school, you want her to get an education, you're trying to save money or, make life easier for the commute and all that fun stuff. And for no good reason, she gets harassed and bullied, everything else. I suppose if you weren't paying attention to her saying that she was being beaten up or something, that maybe you could call yourself guilty or something. But why should you feel guilty for what these kids did to her? It's not your fault. And certainly it doesn't make you a racist because you don't want your daughter to be bullied and harassed at school. But okay, that's your thing. And she signs it, hoping I'm not a Karen. Boy, people have done a number on you, lady.
People have done a number on white people in general, white liberals. She specifically came out and openly said she was a liberal. So it's like, yeah.
Just so you know, I'm one of the good ones.
Yeah, that's what she preferenced the story with. Is like, hey, before anybody says anything, I'm one of those good crackers.
Dear, hoping I'm not a Karen. You don't sound like a Karen to me, and I am very sorry that your daughter had a negative experience at her former school. No child deserves to be treated that way, and I think it would be ideal for both you and her to speak to a professional about the feelings you are experiencing as a result. This is a deeply complicated matter. It's not really that complicated. It really isn't that complicated, but let's see how you go. There's what you seem to know about how racism functions in this country, which is in stark contrast with what seems to be happening at this particular school. If her daughter's being harassed because of her race, that's called racism. There's no How your daughter recovers from this experience and how you recover will mean a lot in terms of your relationship to Black people going forward and your understanding of these awful racial dynamics that surround us.
Right, which means you need to forgive and forget and basically do what all the white people keep telling us to do as Black people, and we keep saying it's fucking ridiculous because why would we do that? You need to do that to make sure you don't further damage any relationship with any of your with any Black people in the future. Sorry, I almost let the truth slip.
I wonder if there's going to be any message here, even ostensibly to the school. I will not defend the actions of any child who went out of their way to mistreat a classmate without provocation. Okay. I, like many other Black parents, okay, so now we know something about the author I didn't know a second ago, take seriously the dual responsibility of teaching my child to both understand racism and resist the urge to take out the pain that racism causes her on people who benefit most from it. Now, here, daughter, I understand that your skin color, which reflects a generational historic representation of oppression and terror, obviously wants to burst out and beat up every white person you see, but you got to resist that temptation. You have to do it. You're the better person, even though it's obviously natural and instinctual for you to want to beat up white people.
Yeah.
Really, lady? Really? Okay. I also recognize that in an area like the one you live in, one that sounds like it is somewhat in the process of gentrification.
Yeah, because that's the excuse. Look, she's already made an excuse. There's no reason that those people could just be fucking assholes. Like, no, somebody had to force them to be that way because Black people are good by default.
An influx of upper white, middle class white folks can be absolutely devastating. Okay, so they were justified in bullying her daughter because her and her family just happened to live there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should have kept your white ass with your other white people and shouldn't have came over here and invaded these Black people's space, is what they're saying.
So again, bullying, regardless of the bully's background, is not okay, but you asked about the larger context here, and so that's what I'll try to unpack. No, you're doing apologetics for bullying.
Yeah, and this is the thing that's always pissed me off about the concept of gentrification. They're saying all of us Black people were forced into these neighborhoods to live here in these horrible places, and we can't get out, and they try to keep us in or whatever. But if white people come here for whatever reason and make it to where it's not just Black people here, then it's gentrification and they're taking over our personal space. It's like, it doesn't matter which way you look, it's all bad. No matter what the result is, we have a reason as to why it's harmful to us.
After years of being told that your community was unimportant and unworthy of resources, you get to watch it become a hotspot, see investment that would have never been made on your behalf. Black folks who once had the hood as a place to be surrounded by their own kind after long days of having to labor for white people now have to watch whites become the most affluent and seemingly most content residents of our ghettos.
Can I finish that?
Real quick. Thank you, Howard Wells. Basically, the author is victim blaming. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Having to come back to your own neighborhood after working for white people and being scared for your life because the people who look like you, who are supposed to be the people who are protecting you, want to rob you and take anything that you've gotten from these white people that you've been working for. Don't forget about that. I love how they just leave that shit out, where it's just like, oh, you go and work for the white man and slave over that, and then you come back to this haven of fucking peace and tranquility where all these people who look like you are, who all care about your well-being and what's going on in your life. Like, that's not how that shit works ever. It never ever works that way.
If that were not traumatic enough, there is also the matter of our interpersonal interactions with our new neighbors, many of whom have called the police on us, unilaterally organizing to reshape our schools, or otherwise come into our sacred places and treated us as we are so often treated by white people, poorly. So again, you're against bullying, but you condone the bullying.
Yeah, she's literally, she's like, even though I don't condone this behavior, allow me to make a case on why you should feel like it's okay to happen to your daughter.
Thank you, Point Curation. Author talks about races like different species. Yeah.
Fuck this
Here we
bitch.
go. I'm skipping down a little bit. Let's get to the meat of this. Your daughter might not have done anything deliberately to harm anyone or to invite mistreatment.
Deliberately.
But her presence disrupts something truly fragile. The feeling of safety Black kids get from being with other Black kids.
Are you fucking kidding me? The only time I have ever feared for my actual life is being in the presence of other Black people. Like, the only time I really felt like I was actually going to die, like be killed, was in the presence of other Black people. I have never felt that way in the presence of anybody else in my entire life. But fine. Yeah, that's right. I was 100% safe when that fucking dude robbed me and took all of my shit. I was 100% safe when my fucking cousin got gunned down in the street and everybody pretended like they didn't know who the fuck it was. I was 100% safe when somebody did a fucking drive-by on my house and shot through my fucking sister's room and a bullet went out of her bed. Yeah, I always felt safe when I was around other niggas. All the time. This story is pissing me the fuck off.
Well, I'm not going to finish that because I think we read the most of it, but Jamila Lemieux, you're a racist. You're a terrible racist apologist, and you have no problem with people being harassed and bullied on the basis of their skin color for no other reason. Because even if this girl was innocent of having done anything to anybody ever, well, you understand why anybody would do it, because she's white. Okay, yeah, just in your own mind, flip this around to where someone was making apologetics for beating up on Black kids because, they're invading white spaces or something. And, your reaction to that notion that is put in your head, yeah, exactly the same as you have to this one. It's bullshit. This lady's bullshit. Making apologetics for victimizing innocent people because of their skin color. I don't know what to tell you, lady. But you're on the one hand, you're a racist. On the other hand, you're giving every real racist out there more reason not to change their mind. Anyway, let's move on, guys. Thank you so much for all the stories. We got caught up on a few there, but hey, that happens from time to time. Let's move on to YouTube time. I don't have much because I have a little bit. But first, for YouTube time, another programming note, a reminder that tomorrow night, there will be no Lords of the Night. Satsu and I are going to take the night off. We both have different reasons for needing a little bit of a breather for other things.
Another one.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, Satsu needs another break. So after tonight, you will see us again on Monday night on Satsu's channel at the regular time. As for myself, I plan on doing something Sunday morning. I'm not sure what yet. you'll just have to wait and see. If you're curious, I will put notes into Twitter when the time comes. Otherwise, I did a lot of Photoshop work today. First, getting today's theme finished. By the way, today's theme of Titanic was selected specifically in celebration of Squishy's birthday because she said that was her favorite movie, or one of her favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting Satsu and Squishy on the "I'm King of the World" and stuff, that was there. I've also prepped another theme, probably for Tuesday next week, which I've shown Satsu. And I also prepped separately one for the AAA meeting of Sinatra, Polly, and Drunkle. I don't know when or if Sinatra will use it. I'm fairly certain he will, because I think he liked it. But if you guys pay attention to the AAA stream, go over to check out Sinatra's channel and Polydub's channel and Drunkle's channel, Drunken Uncle, and you might find it there. But I think that's all the YouTube stuff I have at present. So, Satsu, what do you got?
I'm trying to cool down a little bit because I just, Well, the reason that was so personal to me specifically is because I told you guys about my cousin passing away a while back. This was like a few years ago or whatever. His brother literally just got shot about a week ago.
Oh, Jesus.
Like he just got shot a couple weeks ago, and nobody, once again, same situation. He survived, thank God. But like these fucking narratives, man, they're harmful as fuck. They're dangerous. They're not good, and I really fucking hate hearing it. But as far as YouTube stuff is concerned, I uploaded 2 videos today, one on my cooking channel and one on the gaming channel. Another Honey Pop episode, which was I love making those. I really do. Those are really fun. And if you like that kind of degeneracy, definitely go check that out because it's a good time, man. I really have fun editing those videos. I'll be working on the Satsuhime one tonight and probably most of tomorrow. And then another HelloFresh video went up on the cooking channel, but I will be doing a not HelloFresh video pretty soon because I know, I don't know if people are just like, all right, well, can we get back to the regular stuff now? But I feel like it's about that time to shake things up again, so I'll be doing that. But yeah, I've been busy working on stuff. A lot of stuff we bought yesterday, getting everything set up so I can get that together. A lot of the studio stuff is coming within the next couple days, so I'll be setting that stuff up. And hopefully I can do my first cooking stream in the next 2 weeks or so. So we'll see how that goes. We'll be doing a gaming stream after this over on 2 Sits Plus. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Okay. So on to the wonderful world of fucketry. Do I have much of anything? I'm not sure if I do. Oh, well, Count Dankula, and more, technically correct, his wife Sue had their baby today, or yesterday, I guess, technically.
Nice.
Or no, sorry, it was on St. Patrick's Day. Apologies. It's the evening of St. Patrick's Day in Scotland. So Sadie Meakin, or Meakin, was born, and cute little baby. And so congratulations to Dankula and Sue on their new little baby. Other than that, that's not really fucketry so much, but just something that happened. Other than that, yeah, I don't really have much. Let's see. Again, not really fucketry so much, but James Lindsay, if you guys don't know, is one of the guys that was involved in the group of people who submitted the fake academic papers to see if they could be, peer reviewed with a bunch of nonsense. He posted. He does a series on his Twitter account where he gives translations from the wokish, and today's word is counter story, and the heading is, or the stub is, critical race theory insists that evidence and reason, being elements of white supremacy culture, need to be challenged by, quote, authentic voices of color, unquote. To achieve this, it advances the idea of narrative spinning and telling, quote, counter stories, unquote. And I thought that was an interesting way to break it down. And otherwise, yeah, we talked about the flying people to Canada, and yeah, I don't really have a whole heck of a lot, so that's about all I got. What do you got, Satsu?
Let me see if I have anything relevant. Well, not fucketry, but a lot of birthday wishes and support for Squishy yesterday and the day before. Really appreciate it, guys. She really appreciated it also, and you know, it was fun. Don't worry, you guys didn't like harm me or anything with the with the drinking. I had a good time, and it was and it actually felt good too, because like I don't drink. Like it's not really something that I tend to do, but it's not something I don't like to do. So it was kind of nice to be able to just kind of chill out and have that outlet going, because a lot of pent up stress, anxiety, and shit going on with all this moving and trying to get everything together and juggling all this stuff. So it was a big help, you guys kind of coming and supporting us with that stuff. So appreciate it. Let me see. There was some Facebook nonsense going on earlier, because there's always Facebook nonsense going on. In the group, the cooking group or whatever that I was telling you, the cooking dads group or whatever, there was a video that somebody shared of this dude who spent like several weeks trying to figure out how to cook a chicken from slapping it.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently he created some contraption or whatever that he was working on. I can't even fucking explain it, like how elaborate this thing was or whatever. But apparently the dude successfully figured out how to slap a chicken so many times, so hard and so quickly that it brought the temperature up to safe levels to actually consume it. And
slap friction.
Yeah, and I was just like, I cannot believe that this is a thing.
Why?
Yeah.
That's the most inefficient. I mean, is it just like, you know, you take like a bicycle gear with a couple of those fake like Mickey Mouse hands and a wheel, just go slappy, 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 slappy.
That's the image you conjure up, don't it? But
yeah, just a little bit.
But I was just looking like, I mean, from a creator standpoint, to like, fucking people are gonna watch this, you know?
Yeah, of course.
That's justification enough.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, bro, what a very stupid thing to do. And I still would, there's no way, because I was looking at, like, you could see the chicken or whatever after it was done, and I'm like, I wouldn't put that in my mouth. That shit still looks pink. No, thank you.
Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of continued force that would have to be necessary to actually generate enough heat to do that. Besides which, concussive force is not going to create heat to cook a fucking chicken. You're just going to destroy the chicken.
Well, I mean, like I said, he did it. So
I would love to see, because I don't know all the science behind these things. That sounds like something that if Thunderfoot had a lot of like free time on his hands, he should like how much energy would it actually take to make that happen as compared to the amount of energy necessary to just put the thing in an oven?
He actually calculated that. I don't remember.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. Like this was a full-blown 2-week-long scientific experiment. Like it wasn't just like, you know, he wasn't just fucking around. Like he set out with the goal, and there was lots of trial and error and different methods, and he built several different rigs before he finally came to the end result. Like this was, like I'm saying, he wasn't fucking around. This was something he wanted to do, and he did it. It was just interesting to watch, you know, on a scientific level, just like, you know, in your head, you're like, why would you do this? But apparently, as far as the counter is concerned, it took over 100,000 slaps.
How much time did that take?
Well, to the whole experiment was a couple weeks. The time frame it took to get it to that temperature, I can't remember. I think it was like I don't know. I can't remember. Can't remember the time. I remember the number of them because I was just like, damn, that's crazy. I'll share the link over on Twitter if I can find the video again, if anybody's interested. Well, no, he did. It wasn't the same chicken for 2 straight weeks. He went through several unfortunate chickens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was I don't know why, but it sparked this kind of crazy conversation over there. People were just like, there was a wave of just like, why, and also that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I also found out that there's a weird feed of like elementary school teachers, or just like teachers that teach kids. You know, I don't know if it's specifically elementary school, but it's always like kids' classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Of these teachers with like these big stupid fat asses. And I'm just like, and in every picture almost there's some kid who's just mesmerized by it. And I'm like, why is this a thing? Like, I don't get it. Like, yes, that ass is fat, but like this there has to be an adult somewhere who is literally like going around and making it his thing to catch kids looking at these teachers' asses.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, the internet is a very strange place.
Mm-hmm. It is. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Was there any other circuitry?
Let's see. Any more I'd have to look for. Those were the 2 things I remember that I saw.
Okay. Well, then I guess we can start a little early with questions. So, I'll say this just because it's not anything to do with anything else. But I saw the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier today.
Oh.
Interesting beginning. Very sort of down to earth in a lot of instances. Real good character study stuff to begin with, which you have the time to do in a series versus a movie. A little bit of hit you over the head with some social commentary in a couple places, but whatever. And yeah, I mean, now for those of you that don't know, the title of that show is actually a play on a completely different story that also has to do with espionage and government intrigue, called The Falcon and the Snowman. The Falcon being, and both those things being code names of people who were actual, well, let's just say they were intelligence assets between the U.S. and Russia back in the 80s. It's based on and there's a book called The Falcon and the Snowman. There's a movie that was made based on that book that starred Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn back when they were babies. I read the book several years ago. It's a very ridiculously interesting story. The sequel to it is even more interesting because one of those guys, after caught, he escaped prison, and then his story after that is something else. So if you're at all interested in actual real-life espionage and international intrigue and so on, and crazy people doing silly things with top secret access, I think you can still find the book out there somewhere, but it's called The Falcon and the Snowman, which, of course, is a funny play on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Snowman, etc. So there you go. There's my little piece of trivia for you, if you didn't already know that. Some people do, some people don't. But on to the questions, guys. If you have questions, comments, concerns, complaints, conspiracy theories, if you'd like to just call me a nerd for rattling off that stuff, by all means, put them in the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those. If you have statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those. If you have no idea what I just talked about, well then, you're just not smarty like me. Data Wasteland, why did the chicken cross the road? To avoid a beating? Yes.
That's right.
Motto Winter, oh lords, would y'alls try a fried lobster meat? Okay. With a lemon butter sauce, a side of fiddle faddle, and a large blue cylinder of blue Hawaii. Well, since I don't know what fiddle faddle is, I don't know what to say to that one. Everything else sounds fine.
Isn't that like that like caramel popcorn or something like that? I think.
Like I said, I don't know.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
Understatement. Satsu, are you streaming Valheim tonight or something else? Also, are you up to date with redo of Healer, and are you ready for Blade's destruction?
I am up to date on redo of Healer, and oh my god, I have never been more ready for some revenge than I am right now. I'm just like, yes, whatever you're about to do to her, let's get it over with, because that bitch is scum. She is literal fucking trash, like most of the characters in this show. But yeah, she about to get whatever's coming to her, and I was pumped. I'm like, yes, let's let it happen. I was pissed when they ended the episode, so yeah, I'm caught up, and she about to get hers. What was the other part?
Are you streaming tonight?
Oh yeah, we're playing Valheim tonight because I think we actually found the dragon boss, so we can actually fucking fight it now.
Tack Alpaca, have you done your 2020 taxes yet? I do. I have a human being do my taxes now after TurboTax screwed me over last year. Well, technically the year before by not telling me that my taxes didn't get finalized and me believing for a year that they had. Anyway, last I heard they were almost done, and then I have to go down to the place and sign off on them or whatever and pay them for their work. How about you, Satsu?
No, and that's because, oddly enough, I still haven't gotten all of my tax papers yet. I had to actually email my my network to get my tax papers from them, and it turns out they still had my address from 2 places ago, which is weird because I received my tax papers from them last year at my new address. So I'm just like, what the fuck happened there? I'm not sure.
Point Curation, what are your thoughts on bullfrogs? Oh, well, they made a great game out of Syndicate.
Ribbit?
Yeah, that's my first thing, bullfrog. Red Dirt Runner, Lord Powers, you can have a hand mirror that can look at any point in history, but only while you have Taco Bell diarrhea.
I feel like there needs to be an explanation on how those 2 things came to become conditions.
I'm trying to think of like the most. Okay, if I could use that mirror to solve murders, it'd be worth the price. You know,
yeah, if I would literally just be a toilet.
Yeah, it's like I'd be the Scribe Light Detective Agency with a lifetime supply of Taco Bell, and I'd solve every crime. Yeah. Hate Camel, Fiddle Faddle is like Cracker Jacks. Okay, I'd never heard of it before, so there you go. Cracker Jack along with lobster? No. I mean, maybe as a dessert. Maybe, but I'm not a big caramel popcorn fan to begin with.
Wait a minute. I just realized something. Jordan sent us he tagged us in a tweet and said he was taking a shot for every donation that Scribe got tonight. And I just want to ask, Jordan, are you okay? I don't know how many donations Scribe got tonight.
Oh, I mean, 3 or 4, I think.
I didn't see him in the chat, so I'm just like...
Is he falling over now already or something?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I realized that I had just saw that.
Oh. Well, Jordan, I hope you're okay. Motto Winter, Scribe, will you miss Dogcat Fox when he was put down for war crimes against the native Moonians? The Moonians aren't like a people. They're like, rodents. Just call them Moonians. They're like, as far as I know, I mean, maybe they have an intelligence. I don't care, but they infest things. They nibble on power cables and like get in your shoes. Little rats. Red Dirt Runner, Lords, rate my dinner: 2 quesadilla, a handful of Greek olives, 1 plum, and a glass of diet tonic water. 1 Michelin Man. I don't know. If you like it, good for you. I don't know.
I rate it as acceptable.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Yes, Scribe, at one point, have you owned an aquarium? If so, was it a freshwater aquarium or a saltwater aquarium? I have never owned an aquarium. So that nips that one in the bud. Frosted Glass, what's with the stream title, Scribe? I was referring to Jack in Titanic, sinking and freezing to death. That's all. Usually I use a quote from the movie or something, but I didn't want to put I'm King of the World up there because that's just a bit too cliche. Let's see. Moonian Lives Matter. Yeah. John Migda, thank you for the donation. And I guess Jordan somewhere you're drinking. Jordan says, I'm actually a little ahead of the game. I've been sipping in between. Oh, okay. Dom O'Leary, Lords of the Night, if you had to help a local charity for cancer, lick the underside of a snail for 1 minute once a day for a year, or deep kiss Oprah on live stream for 5 minutes. How much money is going to charity? But either way, I'll kiss Oprah. Sure.
No comment.
Okay. Thank you, Poker Pierce. Hope everyone is having a great night. And it's Babyface. And I suppose also Jordan has to take another drink. Thank you, Poker Pierce.
Poker face, poker face.
And I don't know if this is true. This might be an urban legend. But if you listen to that song, in the middle of her, she's actually saying "fuck her face" at the end.
That's what Squishy told me.
Yeah, and that she's hiding it in there. And every time I hear that song, like if I'm at the mall, not that I've been in the mall in a year, but the last time, anytime I hear that song, I just listen and go like, fuck her face. She's like, slip it right in there. And I'm just like, yeah, she's singing about giving head, Or, yeah.
Well, like I've always interpreted the words as poke her face. So,
I literally think she's saying fuck her face at the end of that long stutter. I'm pretty sure.
I'm like, I've poked many of faces, so I think I know what she's getting.
Let's see. Frosted Glass. If Biden had debated Putin, would it be more or less entertaining than Ranting Monkey's appearance on the corner after Lawton? More. Far, far more. Far more. Let's see. Nobody, not me. Moonians are like cats. No, cats aren't vermin. What are you talking about?
Well,
shush you. Tack Alpaca, did you know that if you blink slowly at a cat, it supposedly takes it as a sign of affection? Okay. If you say so. I don't usually try to seduce a cat myself, so. Data Wasteland. Oh my God, Scribble's calling the Moonian rodents is so racist. Moonian lives matter more than the furry rapist Dogcat Fox. No, they don't. They don't. Even if Dogcat Fox was some kind of criminal, which he's not, Moonians are they're scum. They're scummy little things that you gotta call the exterminator. Except I don't have an exterminator because I live on the moon. And there's nobody else here but me and Dogcat Fox and, the Moonians or whoever else I have up here in my moon base. Bruno Monteiro, Scribelight, what is your take on the Portuguese government trying to tax the people that didn't suffer income-wise with the pandemic? Sorry for the bad English. That's okay. So people that didn't suffer income-wise from the pandemic, I wonder how they determine that exactly. I guess it's reporting so if you're doing like income taxes or something, anybody whose rate didn't go down from the year previous has to pay a higher tax percentage.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what do I think about that? I think that is not fair. Someone who was, and I mean, it's like, if you're going to, unless you're going to have if you're going to have a scaled tax rate to begin with, like people at this income level are taxed this or this income level are taxed that. I don't necessarily have a problem with that if it's a sliding scale and it's made, if you define the tax brackets very distinctly. But if they're like doing some kind of like retributive type thing where it's like, oh, you earned too much last year compared to everybody else, or you didn't lose anything, so therefore we're going to tax you higher. If it's just a one-off like that, either make it a policy like an incremental tax rate based on income or something and make that just the general rule. But don't punish people for being fortunate enough not to have lost their job or something. I don't think that's necessarily fair.
Yeah, and I don't think when doling out or dishing out help and support, like I don't think they need to be a part of that help, but they most certainly don't need to like be punished for not being negatively affected.
Yeah. Mr. Yes, Satsu, have you owned an aquarium? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a bearded dragon. Of course he does.
I've had like fish tanks and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We had an Oscar that was a fucking savage, man. Oscar's like, people are like, oh, piranhas. I'm like, dude, fuck piranhas. Oscar, those things are fucking crazy.
Dom O'Leary Lutton, why, oh, why are there 104 watching and only 62 likes? Shame on those. Other meaning of life. What? Other meaning of life? People don't want to click the like button. That's entirely up to them. I'm not going to punish them for not making us prosperous during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I guess, or something. I don't know what I'm saying. Aussan, Scribe Lights at 2 cents. Can either of you fry a darn good egg? And if so, what's the secret? I can make no claim to being able to cook anything with any particular quality, so I'll defer to Satsu.
Yes, I can fry a pretty good egg, and I guess it depends on how you want it. Depends on the secret. One thing that helped me with cooking eggs in general is whatever heat you're cooking it on, if you're having a problem, cook it lower. Because typically when people make eggs, one of the biggest issues they end up having is they're cooking it on too high heat. So it cooks too quickly and it's hard to really get it how you want it to go. So that's usually the case, but not always the case. You could be cooking it on too low heat and things are getting weird. So yeah, it depends.
Dom O'Leary was making the answer is 42 joke.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided to be dense. That's the problem. Let's see. What is that? Jeanette E. Hellis, Lawton, will I ever find a man? I'm sure if you walk down the street tomorrow, you'll find one.
Yeah. Where are you looking?
Will you ever? Sure. Will he be any good? Couldn't tell you. I mean, if your only threshold is a man, your expectations are very low.
Yeah, I was about to say if you aren't super strict with your preferences, you can get a man tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now you're talking to each other now. Stunlock says, "Fuck that Snyder Cut was a long ass movie." Yeah, it was. It was a long. I mean, hell, it should have been like a mini series or something or whatever. But yeah, no, it was jam packed with slow motion sequences and strange story choices and a lot of filler. Hey, he got one bite at the apple to make the quote unquote movie he wanted. So if they're going to throw $70 million at him to remake a movie that had already been mostly filmed, then I guess you throw everything in the kitchen sink in there because you're not going to get a second chance at that. So,
okay. So before we get too close to the end here, can I traumatize our audience a little bit?
That's your intention?
Well, I won't say it's my intention, but it's probably going to be the result.
Okay. In what way?
This post.
I can't read it. You'll have to indulge me.
All right. Well, how well can you see the picture at least? Pretty good.
Yes.
It says, when your chair's compressed air blows up and fucks up your asshole.
Oh, no.
And the comment on the bottom says, "Thanks a lot. I have a new phobia now."
Why did you do that to me?
And I'm just like, bro, I'm sitting in one of those chairs right now.
Okay, we're done with that. That's disgusting. You're disgusting.
Oh God, I'm very, I didn't even know that could happen.
Anyway, Bruno Monteiro, Scribe Light, the Portuguese government is so bad they are still trying to build an airport even though they banned most flights. Well, I mean, if they're still planning for the future of reopening at some point, you don't really stop building an airport because at some point it's going to become necessary again. But but then I don't know all the ins and outs of the Portuguese government and so on. But Doesn't sound very organized. Jim Gila says, I'm a man. Jeanette says, yes, Bumble and Tinder. Those are where you're going to find a man. Now, like I said, lowest common denominator. Mata Winter, oh lords, purple cougars, pink lions, or green leopards, sweatpants design. I think as far as like color is concerned, probably green would be more universal to people. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I'm more of a gray sweatpants kind of guy.
Jedi Ghost Bear, will Squishy let Satsu onto the door once the ship sinks? I'm pretty sure she would.
Here's the thing. Squishy is the type of person who, if we both can't fit on the door, then we're both not going to be on the door. Like, I would fight her not to let that happen, but she would she wouldn't let that happen. She'd be like, you will not die and leave me alone. I will literally jump in here and just swallow water. Yeah, she wouldn't let that happen.
Jeanette says, I love you guys so much, and yes, I do have standards, and you guys are so nice. LOL. Yeah, no, I didn't presume you did not have standards. It's like, I just need a man. Like, okay, well, no, but
yeah, we were basically making fun of you because of the whole we need a black woman or whoever in position to do whatever, you know.
Well, that wasn't what I was making fun of. I was just
that was my aim.
Oh, okay. Well, that was your thing. No, don't assume my motives. I was just kind of like, where can I find a man? Like, at the post office. There he is. Get him. Like, I don't know.
We need a black woman in a position.
Now, Jeanette, I hope you find a smart, well-off, kind, romantic man. Unless you're looking for a bum. And
I was about to say, joke's on you. She wants
it. Yeah, I was about to say, if you want a complete sleaze, I hope you find a sleaze. I don't know to tell you. Whatever floats your boat. Let's see. Frosted Glass, you have to have one of these songs play at your funeral. WAP, Deutschland über alles, or Baby Shark. What do you choose? I have to have one of these songs. I guess even though to this date I have not actually heard it, I will say Baby Shark.
There's no way that you've never heard the song.
I have not yet heard that song.
Seriously?
I've heard like people individually start like humming or saying the chorus or something, but the actual song I have never actually heard.
Wow.
Yep. Now, of course, this is when everybody's going to send me links to the song on YouTube or something or whatever, and like I'm not going to watch them. Not going to watch them.
Here's the good answer. I don't care what's played at my funeral because I'll be dead.
There's that too.
Like, I won't be there to hear it, so who gives a shit?
Let's see. Devil Fruit Zero, Scribe Light. You're asking me a question for Satsu. Okay, Satsu, would you drink a bottle of 1,000 Needles tequila if Final Fantasy made a cactar-based alcohol?
No. I'd probably buy it so I can have it and be like, this is cool. But would I drink it? Fuck no.
Let's see. Cannibalistic Wither. Slow roasted emu leg injected with garlic butter, cheese injected JoJo's, fried ice cream with a fudgy center, and a tall glass of iced tea lemonade. Do you have like this list that just keeps mixing up things you've already said before? Because didn't we have the cheese injected JoJo's the other day?
I feel like this is a injection week as far as food is concerned.
Yeah. The injection part, no, that's fine. Understatement. Jeanette, Scribe wants you to find a nice, upstanding white man to make your dreams come true, LOL. I didn't say anything. Pirates Creed, do you remember the police officer who said the Atlanta shooter, quote, had a bad day, unquote? Yeah, that was fake news. Turns out he was quoting someone else. Can you say fake news? I heard he was quoting the guy, that the actual shooter, that his excuse was he had a bad day, and that's what he was saying. That he wasn't downplaying the event so much as he was sort of sarcastically quoting the guy, but it just came out badly, is my understanding.
Yeah, I feel like that context doesn't matter, though.
Probably not. Let's see. Well, that's all the questions I can see so far. So if I missed something, put it back in there. We got 10 minutes left. So, Frosted Glass, best self-sacrifice scene in a movie, Iron Giant.
That was definitely pretty impactful. In a movie, that's a little harder. I don't know. I see it, a lot of my top like self-sacrifice things are in anime because I'm a weeb. So,
well, they're anime movies, whatever. I know what Monkey's answer would be. Monkey's answer would be Bruce Willis in Armageddon.
Gotcha.
Jeanette, I have such weird standards. White guys are my preference, but I'd love a Prince Charming who's also capable of cooking for me. Uh-oh, Satsu. Look out. I can't cook.
I'm about as unwhite as they come, though, so that was like the major qualification.
Yeah, I don't know about how charming or princely I am, but I sure as hell can't cook to save my life. Let's see. Lazy Invader Shia. I can't wait till tomorrow. My PC is coming in 3 days early.
Oh, yeah. That's the good thing about, well... I was literally about to say that's the good thing about the pandemic, but I don't. What I was trying to say is one of the upsides of the situation that we're currently in is a lot of deliveries tend to show up earlier than they normally do.
Thank you, Poker Pierce. Make BBY before the Battle of Yavin. What? Okay. Pyrus Creed, did you see how China's ambassador insulted the U.S.? Yeah, we talked about that last night. There was a lot of mutual insulting going back and forth in that whole thing. But, yeah. Not that China doesn't deserve it, but it was a mutual hate fest at that conversation. Quinn the Cultist. No, it's somebody else. Baby Sharp. Yeah, okay. Green Death. I love cooking. Jim Heelis. Jeanette is looking more tempting by the minute. Uh-oh. Jeanette, look what you started.
All right, you better calm down, Jeanette. Jim gonna start jogging over to where you at.
That's right. He'll come running. That came out wrong. So did that. Mr. Yes, Scribe Light, how many stacks of pancakes can you eat? What constitutes a stack?
Yeah.
And then I'll let you know.
That's a pretty good question there.
Yeah, well, it's the only kind I ask. Black Romeo, best sacrifice moment, Terminator 2. Yeah, I mean, it's a good one. It's a good one. I still think Iron Giant probably tops them all in my book, but that's just me. Asan, who are you guys going through? All my packages always show up late as tits. Late as tits? How late are tits?
Late as tits.
Late as tits. Green Death, BBY clearly means Baba Yaga. Does it?
Usually when I order from like direct retailers, like when I ordered my laptop from Dell, it gave me an estimated date and it showed up 5 days earlier. You know, nice. Like Amazon probably not so much, but like direct retailers, you know, if you're getting something very specific from a very specific place, often you'll get it much quicker than the date says. And I'm assuming that computer was probably from some you know, either some direct store that builds them or one of those pre-build places. So,
Jeanette says, can any of you guys handle the amount of pop I listen to? I'll buy you some AirPods.
Yeah. Get you some wireless headphones, girl. You can listen all day.
That's right. You can listen to all the pop you want. I'm not going to bother you. Frosted Glass, what MASH character would you be? Oh. I mean... oh golly! I mean, I think I'd be a combination of like Winchester and Honeycutt. I think something like that, maybe. I mean, most people probably want to say they'd be Hawkeye, but and Satsu probably has no idea how to answer that question.
I know what MASH is. I've seen things about MASH. I've seen it on a TV at some point. I just don't know shit about it.
Delford Zero Scribe Light, you guys don't read the questions if you are co-hosting. From my experience, is this correct? I mean, the unwritten general rule is that the person hosting kind of does all the big stuff in the show except for the news,
right?
And So yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not always the case. Obviously, sometimes.
Yeah, there are small exceptions,
Yeah, I mean, if Satsu saw a question that he wanted to read, I wouldn't stand in his way or anything. So
yeah.
Let's see. Duolingo. What do you order from Taco Bell? I haven't had Taco Bell in 3 or 4 years, so I don't. The time that I usually go to Taco, if I ever go to Taco Bell, it's probably something simple like just like bean burritos or something very basic.
Dude, the only thing that I consider to be good at Taco Bell, like I've eaten things from Taco Bell where I'm just like, yep, that was Taco Bell. But the only thing good to me is the chicken quesadillas. That's it. Everything else is just like, this is edible, but not preferable.
We have matchmaking going on in here. Buster Outlaw says, I'm white, I can cook, and I have a gold record I wrote, Jeanette. And Jeanette says, shit. How old are you?
Oh, shit.
Let's see. And Jeanette says, not going to lie, it feels nice to get this attention. Well, hey, I'll tell you. Let's see.
You seem to be a very nice person, so I think you deserve it.
Buster says, been in the music industry for 10 years, Jeanette. Oh my gosh. It'll be Jeanette E. Outlaws before we know it. Quinn the Cultist. He's talking to Poker Pierce. Everybody's talking to themselves now. They're all losing their minds over Jeanette now.
Well, I mean, it is their time,
Let's see. Oh gosh, I'm inclined to just kind of watch chat at this point because it's probably more interesting than anything I have to say to a question. But while we're waiting for any other questions, another note that tomorrow night, Satsu and I are going to take the night off from Lords of the Night. So no Lords of the Night on Saturday. We'll be back on Monday on Satsu's Two Senses channel per usual. So, yep, we're going to be. And then Sunday morning, I intend to do a stream about something. Not quite sure yet. We'll see. And, of course, if that changes for some reason, I'll let you guys know on Twitter at some point. Mr. Yes says 12 pancakes to a stack.
Oh, that's too much.
Yeah, it's way too much. I couldn't get through. I'd be surprised if I could get through 4.
Yeah, even if they were small, that's still too much.
I'm not a big eater. And that's a lot of stuffing. Let's see. Oh, yeah, everybody's courting Jeanette or being, very politely declining or something. Drunken Uncle.
Look at you showing up.
Oh no.
Fashionably late and shit. Get out of here.
Drunken Uncle, I just did some Photoshop with your avatar in it today, but it all depends on whether or not. No, hell, I'll send it to you right now. I was like, I'll wait and see if Sinatra wants to send that to you, but I'm like, nah, I'll just send it to you now. Get your live reaction, because I was talking to Sinatra today and showing him something I did on Photoshop, and I said I'd be willing to do a thumbnail for the AAA sometime if you want. And he's like, how about this? And I'm like, okay, I think I can do that. So let me send it to you real quick and see what you think. Where'd I put it? There. And there it is. So there you go, Drunkle. Let's see. Stomach Joe, Scribe, how odd was it when Barry was saving Iris from that car crash and she was flying out of the car with a very blank expression so she could keep looking pretty? Yeah, there's that too. I mean, there's some things I'm willing to, set aside for the sake of, comic book stuff. That part didn't weird me out. The part that weirded me out is when the bad guys forgot what planet they were supposed to go to. Somehow they just forgot which planet they were supposed to go to. That was probably the dumbest WTF plot hole. What the hell? And for those of you that haven't seen the movie yet, you'll know it when you see it. It's not really a spoiler because it doesn't have anything to do with anything. They could have left that entire thing out and it would have made sense or come up with a different explanation. But no, he's like, we just forgot which planet we were. Like, well, no, doesn't make sense. You guys are the interstellar, galaxy spanning conquerors. How could you just forget where that planet was? Let's see. Favorite Pokemon, either Satsu or Scribe or both. I don't pay attention to Pokemon, so I'll just say Jigglypuff. Satsu?
I don't know, man. There's too many. I like Hitmontop. He's fun.
And Drunkle likes the thumbnail. So there you go. Keeny Beanie. Let's see. Green Death says, "Night, everyone. Please be safe out there. Hug a loved one today if you can." That's a good message. And yeah, by the time I get to the end of this, we'll be at the end of the show too. So good time to do so. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You guys are the greatest audience in the world and apparently the best matchmaking site since Match.com for Jeanette E. Hellas. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone is so well behaved, if a little bit thirsty, that there's very little for you guys to do. For those of you that donated, thank you so much for getting Jordan drunk tonight, or attempting to, unbeknownst to you. Appreciate it. Remember, guys, again, tomorrow we will not be having a show. We're going to take the night off for Saturday. We'll be back on Monday night on Satsu's channel at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of the Lords of the Night. After this, over on 2 Cents Plus, you can find Satsu playing Valheim. We'll take on Dragon, apparently. And then Sunday morning, I'll be doing a stream of something. Like I said, not sure yet. We'll find out when we get there. But with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Yup.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you on Monday.
Bye, guys.
And taking out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. Today's secret word is muscle.
Muscle?
Muscle.
All right.
So flex thy muscle, and maybe Jeanette will come running. I don't know.